Welcome back to Soul Cards and Connection. We're so excited to be here. I said it last show, and I'm probably going to annoy you guys and the audience with saying this repeatedly, but come check us out on Instagram. We are there doing unboxings and cleansings and information about your tarot decks. And, you know, I love it. I love watching that stuff. It's my favorite. I'm all over other accounts watching that stuff too. So be like me. Come join us on Instagram. Okay, so I'm Jamie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm April. Welcome to Soul Cards and Connections. This is a podcast where the three of us explore tarot and astrology and ritual and figure out how to use all that good stuff in the day-to-day of our lives. Trust that you found us for a reason, and let's jump into the fives. I am excited and I'm a little nervous after we talked about the fours that our seesaw may be a little tipped here with the fives and things might get a little rocky. I don't know, but let's do it.
I think it's an interesting point. The fives are halfway through the journey and in so many ways, right? So they're the balance of both the positive and the negative aspects, and they're the challenge point. So they're definitely the cards of challenge. So as we go through each one of these, they represent change. They represent the need for change in our life in a way that feels uncomfortable. It is in this kind of deeper challenge that we can come out the other side and grow. Like, so if we can learn the lessons of the fives, I guarantee you, and all of us and everyone in the audience, like if we can make it through that discomfort and the grief or the challenge aspects of this energy, then I guarantee you the sixes will be worth it. Like the success after realizing it will come to fruition. And so I just want, it's going to be a heavier episode, but there is success in sight. So if we can just take them one card at a time, we can figure out what it is that they're going to teach us today.
Wow. Oh my god.
That was intense. And so okay, so as usual, I'm using the Witches Tarot deck. And with that explanation, I feel called to look at my language. Guys, audience, we're going to start using the correct terminology when we talk about tarot. You and me together. I feel called to show you guys this card because I love it and it's intense.
Show us. It is, whoa. It is the Five of Wands. We're starting with wands.
I love this.
It is a picture of dragons
battling
and fire, and it's intense. Battle for sure. This Five of Wands.
It makes me feel like a Valkyrie in training right now. I feel like, yes.
Like you're ready to jump in there.
I'm ready to jump in.
You've been training for this moment, Jamie.
Yeah.
Get into that dragon battle.
It feels very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's that. It is. And in so many ways, the Five of Wands really is about that. It is kind of the Game of Thrones energy. It is the battle within the battle. It's about, in so many ways, it's like this competition and conflict that comes from challenging and being challenged by others around us, right? So in that sense, right? So here's a good way to think of the card. It's like people are on the same team, like a sports team or a competition team. On the surface, it might seem that they are all battling each other or in a struggle. But really, the more in the higher octave of this card, the more that they can work together, the better. And the challenges and stuff like that are balanced. And so they can push together further as a team. But at the lower octave and the shadow of this card, it's that sense of pushing and being pushed by others, or you are having to win at all costs kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a powerful card as a challenge point, because it's like all of our cards, like my card is from the Light Seers deck.
Ooh.
And it is all of these men kind of in this precarious balance upon these wands and these sticks, and the top person at the top of the pyramid is trying to get the fire, and they can either work together to get this goal, or they can be destroyed and no one gets it, right? So in this pattern and in this energy, we can look at challenge points as like, we can absolutely get to the goal if we are able to see it through the lens of ambition and being able to realize that maybe it is in the challenge that we're able to succeed.
So if I pull this card, if I pull 5 of wands in a spread or, for the day or, in my journey, I'm pulling the 5 of wands. What is the message I'm getting? Is it about evaluating where my conflict is and how I can restructure it, or what am
Or is
I?
it tag team in, stay in the fight?
Yeah, right. Do I jump into battle? Do I reevaluate the battle?
I'm interested to know the answer.
So it's funny because when you were talking, April, all I could hear in my head was the fight, from the books that we just recently read, right?
Yeah.
Fight. So it is about fighting in that passionate sense for your goal. So you could look at it like, what do I need to overcome? What battles do I need to achieve in order to reach my goal? My passion project, right? Like you're going to have a challenge in that sense. And maybe you could ask yourself, how do I need to level up? How do I need to be more dynamic in this situation? Who is challenging me? What energy around me is testing me? The fives are like a test in so many ways. They're a test point.
And of wands, we're talking about like our spirit and our fire. So we're looking at like, what is the test to my drive, my spirit right now?
Exactly.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
That's a follow-up to my breakdown in 4. Okay.
Fight.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. There we go.
Fight for your position, Jamie. In so many ways, this is a call to action. This is a call to battle. But you can either battle with the people alongside you in community, or you can battle each other. Like, I'd much rather take the energy on the higher octave and feel that my efforts are being supported by a team and that all of us can be facing that challenge a bit better together,
Yeah, that's a lesson.
Right. Like what a reframe that we probably all need all the time.
Yes, girl.
Okay. When we laid out the fives with open minds and open hearts,
what spoke to you?
Gosh, I was really like, ooh, I'm so nervous to talk about the 5 of Pentacles because in mine I have the silver tarot. What's it called? Ethereal Visions.
Your wands were similar in that deck to
my wands
Rachel's.
was like 5 guys battling with sticks, but my pentacles, there's is it a mother and child? I was like, I am so nervous about this one. What is this about?
If you look at pentacles, they represent the earthly energy of security and how we manifest things in our life. And in so many ways, the energy of this card really kind of speaks to the difficulties that we are challenged with in our physical realm of life, the material realm, financial hardship, losing a job, a need to, intense worry about our situation can come into this card. This energy is about not feeling secure in life. And maybe it's a call for us to ask for help. And in my card in the Light Series deck, she's outside of this door and the key is literally right here. And I have the mandalas in this kind of pentacle form, which is, a call to the more mystical aspects that are within this door, and she could go inside and have the abundance within if she's only capable of standing up and doing it. So in a lot of ways, this card can keep the energy of this card can kind of be like at its lowest octave, like a scarcity mindset, like not feeling like we ever have enough. And so in your imagery, April, like her holding that child of feeling the despair of maybe not being able to provide for their family, or the feeling of that despair and low self-worth that comes into play, or feeling alone sometimes, and wanting to give that energy back towards others is what helps us get past it.
I just oh God, okay, my turn to cry. I just, like thinking about being a mother and like the worry about being able to take care of your kids in the way that you want them to. And, with the world changing rapidly around us right now, that's just been like on my mind 24/7. Like, am I going to be able to provide in the way that I need to? And so, yeah, I think when I laid out this card, I was just like, oh, that one's speaking to me in a way that I don't know if I'm ready to hear. But when you said like the worry of, the physical realm or like the reality, like the real life world that's around you, I think that really makes a lot of sense to me.
Of course it does. And
Right.
we say the world is rapidly changing right now, but also our country.
Right. And especially like as a mother, like,
Yeah.
gosh, there's the depth of the worry for your children is endless, right?
It's interesting that you both say that because, like, in astrology, this card is represented by Mercury in Taurus, and Mercury is the fastest
Mm.
changing planet. And it is about the messages that we take in this path we call life, right? And it changes all the time, and it's not always pleasant, and it's not always easy. And with Taurus being very grounded sign, it's how we need to feel secure and how we can help others around us feel secure. And so this challenge point in the fives is asking us to really reset, reevaluate our resources in a different way, and maybe learning how to ask for help on our journey is just as important as rest and just as important as success. It's like we're not meant to do this journey alone. We're really not. The Five of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite card shows two people outside of a church building in the snow, barefoot, handicapped, and they are homeless and they're without resources. And there's a light from the church within, and it's got the pentacles on it. And if they only turned and looked, they would be able to go inside and be um, find security within this. And so sometimes it could be a reminder for us to ask for help and to realize that we need to look within ourselves first and realize that we're worth helping.
I think that's okay, so disparity doesn't have to look like homeless or injured but that is the way that it's visually coming across. And, I needed help last night and I called a friend who came right over, didn't even ask, just came. When I
Spoiler
called,
alert, it was me.
spoiler alert, I called in just tears and anxiety attack. And, you know,
Oh.
it wasn't my husband or my child. They were, at practice, but I needed an outside voice, another mother, another person who could assist in the situation because I didn't know how to pull myself out of it. And if I saw my husband and son, it would probably sink me deeper into that. I can't get out of this cycle right now. Anyways, my point being that it's not always disparity. It could be as simple as you're in a moment of anxiety or you're in a moment of needing someone to just pull you out of this mindset that you're in at the moment, right?
It's that feeling of being helpless and then realizing that help is there for you. And I love that you had the intuition to reach out like that. I mean, that's a beautiful way of expressing this energy and this emotion.
That's the first time I've ever done that. Usually I don't reach out. Usually I just sit in my hole and go, nobody needs to see this. But I did. And I wonder, if this process and this show, what we're doing, is giving me that strength to reach across and say, help me. Okay, go ahead.
Girl.
April, sorry, I stepped on your toes.
Jamie, that's really beautiful. I just wanted to say that, like, we said at the beginning of the episode, like, it was going to be a challenging one, but I appreciate like having the moment of like looking at what's real, because everything we've talked about so far, it's like, this is real life. Like, like Rachel, you've said in past episodes, like, we can't just live and love and light. We need to have the shadow side. We need to have the hard stuff. We need to have the challenges, which is what this 5 is about. But like, this stuff is happening whether we look at it or not. So I appreciate the moment of like having the spotlight down here on the challenges that are real. This is real life. So what's happening? And yes, we can look at how to get through it to the other side, to the sixes, but just having that moment and taking a breath of like honoring and acknowledging the challenge that is present.
I think that's a really great way to put it, because when we look at challenge points in our life, at the end of the day, it's in order for us to open our hearts further about ourselves, about others. Like, we're all on this journey, and these are just opportunities that we can see that come into our lives in order to open and break us open. Like, it's like a seed. We planted the seed with the ace, and the fives are like when it starts to crack, right?
Great.
It's when things really break apart, and you're like, all of this struggle with the seed, and it's growing, right? Like, it's reaching for the light. It knows that it's there, and it's almost there, but it has to believe that going through this dark process and this really like weird struggle is gonna be fruitful at the end of the day. And we
have to crack
that.
apart, because if we didn't, we would just stay a seed and we would never become a beautiful plant, whatever plant we are, flower.
Oh.
We can't stay as a seed, right? And the only way to progress forward is to crack apart, right? Is to turn into goo in the chrysalis.
It's to crack apart.
Yes.
All of it.
Which I love. And speaking of chrysalis, y'all, remember when I was hinting towards a card with a moth? What is happening to my moth?
Whoa. Okay, so Jamie's got a card. It's like up in the clouds, like in the sky, and there's a moth, and there are 5 swords pointed directly at it, like in a line, like kind of in a rainbow arc. And Jamie, what are those, fairies? What is the thing?
Fairies.
And there are
violent fairies?
5 violent fairies kind of surrounding. So we're going to need some interpretation. I have no idea what's happening here.
Are they violent fairies? What are they doing?
I don't think they're violent. Maybe they are.
They're acrobats.
Acrobatic
they're like
flying fairies.
They're acrobatic flying fairies.
That's a lot of energy around that card,
Girl.
Jamie. I love
Girl.
this. So when you think about swords, right, it represents the element of air. It represents the more mental plane of life and like our thoughts, right? So it's all pointing to that moth's head, right? So it's like in this transformative place around how it thinks of itself, right? Maybe it's like understanding that in this challenge, it's thinking about the conflict of our own mental energy and how we think about life. And like we can't become successful in moving past something that's very, very much in our own head, our own anxieties. You were talking about being anxious. Like, this energy of this card is like anxiety. It's like,
yes, and
right,
because those fairies are doing acrobats, like, that's not the right word for it, but they're doing flips and turns to get away from what is happening with the swords in the brain. And it's like, nope, don't hit me. It's like the idea is coming out and just spiraling, right? Ooh, girl.
Yeah. So in my card, like, the swords come into play as ravens as well. And it's kind of similar. And there's all of this energy. To me, it looks like he's grasping his head. He is being fed information in one ear, and like there's 4 birds that have already like passed, and he's lost that concept or that idea. It's about understanding and experiencing the loss of something, not in the way that the cups are, but in the sense that like we can no longer think of ourselves in the same way after having come out of something like a conflict. Maybe we're fighting with a friend and we can't see them the same way, or ourselves, after words have been said. It's like this mindset that completely changes us, right? You can't go back on a conversation, and if words and air and things that are said feel like a betrayal, Like, because remember the Three of Swords was like that, and we had to rest, and then we have to like become a new person, because at the end of the day, like, this is about a journey that we're overcoming
This
within ourselves
is
first.
so relevant after the 4 conversation. Okay. I'm freaking out. Guys, this is too real. Sometimes it's just too real. And sometimes I think we're like, we try too hard to apply the cards to what's happening. But if it's organically matching up with experience in the moment, then I think you have to see that through.
Totally. Totally. Okay, I'm interested. You mentioned the 5 of Cups. We haven't talked about cups yet. And my 5 of Cups is like real sad town over here. It's real.
This
Oh, we
card
got
like
some
triggers me
feelings.
in a
Oh, we
way.
have feelings all around. Okay, so my card is a young human draped in a cloth, kind of curled up on themselves. Their head is buried in their hands. They're holding themselves very protectively, like in a fetal position. And then there's just cups. Well, 2 are upright and then 3 are knocked over and they're empty. Looks like they're empty, just empty
Yeah.
cups everywhere.
Mine are spilling the
Yours are
contents, but she
spilling.
looks like she partied hard and she has a
Well, what's
hangover, but that's just
yeah. Also despair though, like also sad.
This,
also sad.
yes. The energy of this card like triggers me, because to me it represents grief.
Oh yeah.
It represents just true, like a broken heart, or just like self-pity, or even like bitterness at its core about what has happened to you. It is, about not being able to like let go of past traumas or the past. If water is representative of our emotional state and our intuition, it's not trusting ourselves enough and our intuition, and maybe staying too long in the shadow side of something, right? We're in this cycle of like, being led by our emotions, but in a dark way, and unable to kind of get out of that energy, and becoming jaded, like with life at its lowest octave, right? So it's like an invitation to have us reevaluate everything. And in my card, she's got this beautiful, she's got the empty cups as well, and it's very gray and blue, but she's got this beautiful rainbow cup behind her, and it's being there, and it's in all of ours. Like, maybe all we can see is our empty cups in front of us, but I guarantee you that there's something there to be had at the end of this journey. And it's something that we all kind of have to go through in life. Like, we're all going to experience times of grief and times of depression, but we shouldn't stay there.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my card again, like we have all been here, right? Like we have all been curled into the fetal position, just in grief or despair or sadness. Like, this person could be crying on the floor of a shower. Like he's is in it. Like, and we can all like recognize. And again, like I said earlier, just like really appreciate this card's calling of like, this is where we are, like acknowledging it so that we can look at, how can I get through this challenge? How can I not stay here forever, right? Like, I don't want to live here, but I need to be here. I need to pass through this point and let myself be here. And then I know I'm not going to stay here forever.
It's the knowing that I'm not going to stay here forever. And I'm hoping the 6s remind us of that, because that's where we get trapped, right? Especially when we're younger,
Yes.
those 20s are really hard in like not taking things that happen so personally that we can't move forward.
Right.
Yes, girl. Yeah. I think all of these, in so many ways, the 5s really represent the darkest part of this process. The 5s as a symbol represent a star, though, as well. And so when you look at, and they represent the human body, like we're here to experience this for a reason. And there is hope at the light of it. It is both the challenge point, but also the ability to come out of it is we're all going to be different people. These experiences change every single one of us in a way that we can't go back to the young, naive person that started this journey, right? And the fives are guided by the Hierophant and the Major Arcana, which invites us to relook at our beliefs and relook at the things and the dogma around us and say, nope, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to take this because this is what resonates as I move forward in my journey. I don't need to hold that anymore. I don't need to hold that darkness. I can shed that in the end of this energy and this process, and we can think differently as a result at the end of the day. And I think it's hard, but it's worth it.
Wow.
So can you just explain what the Hierophant is for the newbies like me?
Yeah. So the Hierophant is the fifth card in the Major Arcana, and it really represents kind of more the traditional aspects of religion and the traditions of society that are around us that kind of constrict us into this mold and program us. And so it is both the ability to look at these traditions in our lives and look at the challenge points and then say, I'm going to take this lesson, but I'm going to leave this belief behind, kind of thing. So all of the fives energy kind of relate back to that overarching theme.
It's like the take what works and leave the rest that we always say in Circle. This is what this card is asking us to evaluate. Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Wow. Girls, we made it. We made it through the fives episode.
You made it.
A moment of praise for ourselves, a proud moment. It brings us to our creating a meaningful moment for the week ahead. And I felt called when thinking about what do we need for this week when we're talking about the fives. I felt called to do a little nervous system regulation tool so that, like, as we are walking ourselves through this challenge, as we are acknowledging what the battle is and what the thoughts are and our rewiring and everything that's happening, we can breathe and take this tool with us to get ourselves through. So, my offering is butterfly taps. If you've never done this, it's very simple. What you do is you cross your hands across your chest and you just take turns tapping on your chest with each hand, and it looks like a little butterfly. And this is a really soft, gentle way to help regulate your nervous system if you're having anxiety, if you're feeling overwhelmed. Pairing this with some deep breathing can really make a big difference. If that feels too light and you need a little bit more physical contact, you can also do what we call gorilla taps, which is one hand on each side of your chest, exactly what it sounds like, pounding a little bit harder on each side of your chest, taking turns alternating. This is providing that bilateral stimulation of your brain, right, left, and it's helping us regulate back down into our nervous system. Just a tool that I want to offer for you to practice sometime in this week when you're feeling the challenge, to allow yourself to be with it. Take the breath while you're doing it. Allow yourself to know that this challenge is going to pass as you're using this tool to help regulate your body.
I love that.
Yeah, these are good ones. These are also great parenting tools for when you're feeling very overwhelmed.
I love that. Yes. I'm going to use. Yes. Thank you, April. I'm going to use
butterfly taps and gorilla taps are where it's at. Okay, and wrapping up our episode about the fives of tarot, taking a moment to all come back together and to take a deep breath together. So wherever you are, everyone taking a very deep breath together in and a very deep breath together out. And may you stay connected to yourself as you step back into your week.
If you loved what you heard today, show us some love. Like, subscribe, follow, and share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a little extra connection in their lives. Join the conversation and stay in the loop by following us on Instagram @SoulCardsAndConnection. And let us know your thoughts, questions, and stories. Soul Cards and Connection is brought to you by your hosts and executive producers, April Treadle, Rachel Boozer, and me, Jamie Parker Stickle. And it is a production of Make That Paper Productions. A special thanks to our producer, audio engineer, and editor, Jason Bieber. And of course, a huge shout out to our rockstar intern, Brian Guetta, for your invaluable contributions. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay soulful and stay connected.